Okay, so we are going to now start working on our Charley Harper artwork. You can see I already got started on my own version of the Ladybug sampler. Just to show you, you can see this is actually white paper that I colored with an orange crayon, and then I added cut paper. You can kind of see. Whoop! Ladybug lost his spot. I'll glue that back on. So you can see that I used paper to add those details on this ladybug. And on this one here, I just drew those spots on with Sharpie. And I did the same thing over here. So let's talk a little bit about our materials that you can use. Obviously, you can use cut up paper if you have it. Some of you might be saying, Mrs. Sasso, I don't have a lot of art supplies. You know what? I get it. I understand. Maybe try an old envelope. You can use that. I'm using some lids. I think this is a peanut cup, and this is a jar lid from I think some peanut butter. And here's a milk cap. So you can maybe look around the house and see what's circular. You can always ask a parent or guardian what you can use. Same with the envelopes, you always want to ask. And you could trace this onto here and you can get some white paper that way. A lot of us might have some old worksheets. You've been doing a lot of schoolwork at home, so you might be able to use the back of a worksheet that has writing on one side but is blank on that side. So you could use something like that. Maybe you're lucky and you have some colored paper at home. So whatever you have is fine to use as long as you feel inspired to use it. I am going to use this red paper because I wanted to create another little red ladybug. So what I'm going to do is, just to make it a little bit different, I'm going to actually add another layer of color on top. So I'm going to use my crayon and I'm just going to color over it. This is kind of the fun thing, is that there's really no right or wrong. We're just trying to create our own version of a Charley Harper artwork. So we're just creating some ladybugs in the way that we would like to do it. So I created just another layer of color on there, just so it'll look a little bit different than that one. So I could use this tracer, which is the same that I've done for here, but I'm going to make mine a little bit smaller, and I'm going to put this on top here. I'm going to use my pencil. I'm going to trace around. If you need help holding it, you can always ask somebody to help you at home to hold it. I like to trace on one side, kind of move my hand, go back around this side. If you need to turn your paper, make sure your hand is on here and you can keep going around. If you make bumps and lumps, it's okay. It's really not a problem. Now I'm going to give you one of my little cutting tricks. One of my cutting tricks is that get rid of all that paper that you don't need. I don't need all this paper in the way, right? I'm going to save this for something else. I'm going to put this to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start cutting out my circle. I don't need that. Excuse me, out of my way. Or sometimes I like to say, make it snow. As long as you clean up after yourself, right? We always want to make sure that even though we might be messy artists, we are good cleaner-uppers. That's very important. I hope that you can find a space that's comfortable to work in, but if you're like me, you have to find a space that other people need to use too. So you have to make sure that you clean up after yourself. Okay, so here I have my circles all cut out, and you might want to save these little scraps. Maybe get a baggie, you could save them. So you could now use your marker, you could use some cut up paper. Sometimes using a marker on top of something that you've done crayon on is a little difficult. So you might want to use even another crayon if you'd like. You can test out, let's see, this, yep, that's my black. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create the head. Again, if this is all you have at home, that's fine. You can take a white piece of paper and you could color that with black marker. And you could cut those out for the spots. You could draw some spots if you want. And you can cut those out and you can glue them down. However you feel you need to do it is fine with me, as long as you're enjoying the process, which is a really important thing as an artist. You always want to make sure that what you are doing is bringing you some sort of joy. Let's see. I'm going to go back to my marker. I'm going to make a dot over here. And make sure I fill that in. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut that out. And it's okay if they're not symmetrical. As long as you're enjoying the process, it's totally fine. Here's my little spots. Looks kind of cool. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and keep coloring the top of my ladybug's head. And this is kind of a funky crayon. It's not quite coloring it in all the way. That's all right. I can always layer over it a little bit. I want to make a line down the middle. It's going to kind of look like a T. Looks like the letter T. Use my glue stick. Glue this little guy on. Boop. Glue this little guy on. And if you go back and you look at Charley Harper's work, you can add the spots wherever you want, however you'd like it. He does all the ladybugs a little bit different, and that's one of the fun things about it. You can really, make it your own, customize it to how you see it. Now I'm gonna glue this one down, and I'm gonna turn this one facing this one like that. All right. You can use a little bit more glue. I'm trying to make sure I go fast. I'm not boring you too much on the video. All right, I'm gonna use my black marker, and I'm gonna add these little details. I'm gonna add these little parts of the ladybug, almost like if you make the letter U, kind of color that in, you'll be fine. I'm gonna have them talking to each other. I'm putting dots on this one, kind of like how I did on that one there. Make these legs a little bit different. Ladybugs have 6 legs because they're insects. So we're gonna put 6 legs on here. I just think those dots are really fun. If you go back and look at Charley Harper's work, some of the ladybugs don't have dots and some of them do. So again, it's artist choice. And if you're not sure who the artist is, go look in the mirror, because the artist is you. You are the artist of your artwork. Pretty cool, right? What do you think? Looks pretty good. Remember, you can do it how you want to at home. It's making your own ladybug sampler using paper, tracers, whatever you have at home. And one other thing, don't forget to sign your artwork, because you are not Charley Harper, you are you. So I'm going to sign mine, Mrs. Sasso. I cannot wait to see your ladybugs. Thank you so much for creating with me today.